Assalamu alaikum. How are you all, students? Hope that you are all are well. Again, I'm here with the second specimen paper that is supposed to be for from 2023 onwards. This is again paper 2. One paper has already been shared with you. We have done it together. Let me recap that what you need to remember in order to appear in paper 2 and do it well. First thing is, all questions are supposed to be answered. You are supposed to use a black or a dark blue pen. You may use an HB pencil for any diagrams if you have any in your paper. You have to write your name and center number and candidate number in the boxes provided at the top of each page. You have to write down your answer in the space provided. And there is enough space given for each part of the question. So you can utilize that area effectively, efficiently, so that you are able to give a good answer to the questions. You're not allowed to use an erasable pen or a correction fluid at all. You don't have to write anything in the barcodes, and calculators are not to be used at all. So do not carry a calculator with you to the examination hall. Papers of 75 marks, number of marks are mentioned in brackets, and there's no mark that is awarded for using any brand name. So please be cautious that you don't have to use any brand name. Otherwise, you will not score any mark at all. Moving to the first question of this paper. And a range check is used to check that a value input is above 20 and below 20, above 10 and below 20. Now recall your range check. It means, and beside this, you need to recall the test data also, that above 20 means 10 is not, above 10 means 10 is not inclusive, and below 20 means again 20 is not inclusive. So it means out of the 4 options, 10, 15, 20, and 30, definitely 15 is the most viable option. So you will ignore all the rest and you will only click on 15, and you will be able to score 1 mark very easily in a minute. Moving on to the second question, you have to draw a line in order to match with the right description. And again, you can see these are certain terms that we have been discussing quite often. The first one is the library routine, a standard subroutine that is available for immediate use. Like if you can recall, by the way, can you recall a few library routines that we have learned? That's great. Wonderful. We have learned round, you have learned random, you have learned length, you have learned upper, lower. So these all library routines you are aware of. Though these are basically available for use, immediate use. Then second option is structure diagram, an overview of a program or subroutine, which you already have learned very well. So you know what is a structure diagram. Procedure, a subroutine that may not return a value. Please remember the difference between the two. Procedure does not return a value, while functions return value. And although if you're not okay with that, still no worries. Out of the 4 boxes, we are able to do 3 boxes accurately. So the fourth one is function, a subroutine that can be used in an assignment statement. Now, this is also something that you need to recall. By the way, if I say the length function, so I may write down that A equals to length of Pakistan. So definitely you can see that this function, or if I'm making a function of my own also, then that is going to be assigning using the assignment statement. I have to store the value. That is why the fourth option function is the definition of this is a subroutine that can be used in an assignment statement. So subroutines are procedures, subroutines are functions, but the difference between the two is procedure does not return a value and functions return a value. I hope that we all are clear. No ambiguity regarding question number 2 also. Now, question number 3. A program checks if the weight of a baby is at least 2 kg. Now, give the reasons 2 different values of test data that could be used for the baby's weight. Each reason must be different. So just as an example, by the way, if you recall the test data, which we have been doing quite often, the first one is your normal data. And by the way, videos are also available. So the ones who are facing problem, they can watch the video of the test data also, just to get a clear idea of this concept. So we have normal data, abnormal data, boundary data, and extreme data. So just for the sake of understanding, like I've just taken two examples, two in digit. Boundary should be accepted as weight is okay. The reason it should be very clearly mentioned that you are taking this value to, or it could be any value, but that will be the, or you can mention any normal value also. While on the contrary, value 2 is TWO, and you can recall the data types that TWO is string, and in order to talk about the baby's weight, it should be an integer value, or it could be a, if it's containing a decimal part, then it can be a real value also. But right now, assuming that whatever is written here, that is giving me a hint that my number is, it's a number, and that is why TWO is definitely not at all acceptable. It is erroneous or abnormal, and it should be rejected. So when you mention the correct reason with the correct example, then you will be very easily able to score 4 out of 4 in, again, hardly 2 to 3 minutes. See, so easy to score until now. Question number 4. Circle the 2 actions that a program needs to take to store data in a file. Store means saving or reading. What strikes your mind? Yes, definitely. It needs your saving thing. So for saving, what we use, definitely I need to open. So open, I've circled, and definitely I need to write. It will not be output. It will be, although output seems to be a closer, can say, option, but I will not take output. I will take write because the action is writing. Sort is not the right option. Search is not the right option. Read is definitely not at all the right option. Print is again not needed. Activate is again not at all. Calculate. And definitely, although close is there in the whole program, but talking about that in order to store data in a file, I'll be only working on open and write. And that is why these two are going to be circled, and you will score 2 out of 2. Part B, a program halted unexpectedly with the error message, file not found, while trying to read data from a file. Outline the actions that the program needs to take to prevent this error occurring. Like you don't want this error to happen. So what you will be doing is, before you actually open the file, you should be checking the existence, that is the file there or not. If the file is not there, then you have to output a message before performing this activity, because it may happen. Just think from the real life. You need to figure out first that whether the file is existing, and only then you will be opening it. Same case goes here. Just actions are, you can choose any of these 2 options, and you will be able to score 2 out of 2. Definitely, before trying to open the file, you will be checking that whether the file is existing or not. And if the file does not exist, then you have to tell the user with a suitable message that file is not there. So in this manner, if you mention any 2 options, any 2 points, you'll be able to score 2 out of 2. Now moving on to question number 5, draw a flowchart. Again, no, don't get worried at all. Drawing a flowchart is also very easy. It is asking me just go stage-wise. You may be asked to write pseudocode. You may be asked to draw a flowchart. Up to them. They can ask in any manner that they want to. Allow numbers to be input. Ignore any numbers that are positive, that are negative. Count how many numbers are positive. Output the count of positive numbers when 0 is input, and end the algorithm. Now you can recall 0 input means it is going to work with a rogue value. If you remember the term rogue value, which we have discussed, a value used to terminate the loop. So input of 0 is going to terminate. So just very simple. You are going to start your flowchart with a start symbol. Then you need a variable for counting. Count equals to 0. And then you are going to input the number by using the input symbol. Then is number equals to 0. Now you will check. Immediately you will check. As soon as input of number is taken, you will be checking that is number equals to 0. Yes. So output count and positive numbers, because that is the requirement. Output the count of positive numbers when 0 is input. So you can simply output count, comma, quotations. Within quotations, you are mentioning a message, positive numbers, so that the user knows how many of the input numbers were positive numbers. And if this is not the scenario, so you can see the no is moving it down. Is number less than 0? Yes. So you are sending it back to the input of number without moving down. But on the contrary, assume that the input number was 5. So 5 is less than 0. Condition is false. So it will move down because it's a positive number. It will increase the value of count. Count equals to count plus 1, the counting process as we have done in pseudocode writing. And then you can see again the line is drawn from here and is taking it back to this. Please be cautious. The same line is coming from here because if the number is less than 0, no counting is being done, and the loop will be executing by taking input once again. On the contrary, if the number is above 0, if it's a positive number, still the same path will be followed, and after the value of count is increased by 1, you are going to go for a re-input of the number, and this process will continue till the value input is a 0. By the way, just for the purpose of asking, can I make a pseudocode of this task? Input of numbers, 0 input is going to terminate. By the way, Ali, can I do it with the for loop? Yes, can you recall the 3 loop structures that we have learned? The for loop, the while, do and while loop, and the repeat until loop. Can I perform this activity that 0 input is going to terminate the loop? Can I do it with for? Yes, that's great. We cannot because it's not a count control action. It's something that is conditional. It is based on 0 input will terminate. So you can either use repeat until or you can use while, but you will not be using for in this scenario because it's dealing with the condition. That's very good. Excellent, Adi. I hope that we all are clear, and then you are going to end your flowchart by using this stop. So if you have drawn the symbols properly, you have positioned them in the right way, you have performed all the activities, then you will be able to score so easily 6 out of 6. See, so simple, isn't it? Now, moving on to the next part, explain the changes you will make to your algorithm to also count the negative numbers. So now they're asking me to explain. Be cautious. The word explain means I don't have to draw. They're only asking me to tell that what are the changes that I need to make in order to also count the negative numbers. So see, it's so simple. You along with this count equals to 0, that is counting the positive numbers, you also need one more variable that is going to count the negative numbers. So you can simply write down, use another counter or variable and initialize to 0 before looping. So this is going to be the right thing that you need to write. I mean, explanation is as per your own understanding, but you need to mention this concept that in order to count how many negative numbers are there, along with the positive calculation, you're counting, you need to have one more variable initialized before the loop. Before the loop starts, you need to initialize, increment the counter or variable when the number is less than 0, count all numbers and subtract the positive numbers. Like there are 2 strategies. One student can say that I'm going to increment the counter for the negative numbers. That's perfectly okay. And the student can say that I am going to store in that variable once all the things are being over, count all the numbers that are being there and then subtract from there. That is also another strategy that the student can apply, and they both are correct. Once you are done, along with that output of the positive numbers, you will be outputting the negative numbers also, and that will be done in the end. So in this manner, the student can score very easily if he has explained the changes that need to be made in order to get this task done. I hope that's very much clear. And drawing is very easy, and this is also very easy. Now, the section of the program, the section of the program code asks for 80 numbers between 100 and 1000 inclusive to be entered. The pseudocode checks that the numbers are in the correct range and then stores the valid numbers in an array. It counts how many of the numbers are larger than 500 and then outputs the result when finished. Now, this is my program code description. And then I am given a few lines, and I was asked that out of these 11 lines, there are 4 lines that contain errors. I need to state the line number. Again, you can see here the requirement is a bit different. Here they're asking me to mention the line number. So error 1, line number. I am supposed to mention the line number, as well as the correct code. So I'll just move down one by one. It said section of the program code asks for 80 numbers between 100 and 1000 inclusive. Count equals 0. For index equals to 1 to 80. Now this line is correct. Input, enter a number between 100 and 1000, comma number. Again, don't consider yourself that it's a wrong statement. This said section of the program code. So in some programming languages, the input is taken in this manner, that you write down input, the keyword, then you give a message, and then you write down the variable here. So since the question is not dealing with pseudocode writing, that's why it's perfectly okay. Do not get confused that this is an error. That's perfectly okay because you have taken input using a programming language like BASIC. Now, while number is less than or equal to 99 and a number greater than or equals to 1001, just think, is it possible? Just, I'm asking you, is it possible? Is there any number in the world that is less than 99 as well as above 1001? Can anyone ever tell me a number that exists? Definitely not. So that means that that is an error. So what I did was, before I moved ahead, I have just circled this line so that I will be moving out later and then finding out that which other lines are containing an error. Input, this is incorrect. Please try again. And again, comma number. That's perfectly okay. And while num80 equals to number, this seems to be a little fishy, isn't it? Now, I have just circled it. If number greater than 500, now you can see the pseudocode checks that the numbers are in the correct tree, then stores the valid numbers in an array. It counts how many of the numbers are larger than 500 and then outputs the result when finished. Now you can see if I move one by one, line number 4, error, I circled it. Line number 7 is also having an error. Num of 80, it means every time the 80th location will be storing the data, which is wrong. The values have to be stored in an array, and array locations are addressed by the variable index. So it means that this line number 7 also has an error. If number greater than 500, then count equals to count plus 1, and if until index equals to 80. Now this line also seems to be a little fishy. It does not seem to be correct. Until index, jab tak index ki value does not become 80. So this is something that is incorrect because I'm starting, you can see it is an example of nested loop, while and while for. So definitely it is very clear that for is needing the next thing. So that is an error. So I'm going to figure out line number 9 as an error also. Print index. By the way, do I need index to be printed? Do I need the value of 80 to be printed, or do I need the value of how many are above? So which variable is holding? Index is just meant as a trapping for the counting process, counting from 1 to 80. So definitely index is not supposed to be printed. It should be count. So in this manner, before I started doing the work, I've circled, I've figured out the problems, and then I'll move ahead. So it means line number 4 has an error, line number 7 has an error, line number 9 has an error, and line number 10. I figured them out, and then I'll move down and I'll start writing down the corrected code. First one is file number less than or equal to 99 or number greater than or equals to 1001. Line number 7, num of index is equal to number. Line number 9, next index. Line number 10, print count. Again, do not get confused that it's written print in 2 lines. Perfectly okay. Up to them, up to you that whether you want print. I mean, again, just think that we are using different programming languages, and some programming language may want print to be done twice. Perfectly okay. Print index and then print numbers were larger than 500. That's perfectly okay. The main concentration is towards this variable that should be count and not index. I mean, that this is what they have tricked us. They have not used count for the purpose of with for. They are using count for counting the values which are above 500. So again, not a problem. You need to be very cautious with your code. Take a little time, be very cautious, and then you are going to fill in. But remember, you first figure out and then start attempting. Do not start attempting immediately. I suggest you. Okay, thank you very much for the prompt replies coming from some students who are sending the replies in the chat box. Now, question number 7. Consider the truth table. Now, this is the truth table. Draw a logic circuit to represent the given truth table. Each logic gate should have maximum of 2 inputs. They have given us the hint that you cannot go beyond 2 inputs for one logic gate. Do not simplify the logic circuit also. Now, this is what is here. But before I move on to part B, write a logic expression for the given truth table. Do not simplify the logic expression. Now, if you recall, we have done it quite often. If I am given a circuit truth table, and from this truth table, I'm asked to write the logic expression. Very simple. What we do is we simply highlight the cells that contain X or the final answer as 1. So here I had figured out that there are two rows, the first row and the second row. I moved down and I wrote the value for this. It said, and now first of all, I'm writing down the value for this. It said A is 1, B 0, and C 0. So what I wrote was A and not B and not C. Again, recall whenever we have a 0 for any signal or for any value, then we treat it as not. So you can see it's A and not B and not C. Then I move down A and B and C. Since all the three are ones, it means all the three are ones, means I will simply write down A and B and C. And then in order to work with any in between, I'll use or. So you can see here, A and not B and not C, or A and B and C. So one student wrote this, correct. Another student wrote it in this manner, A and not B and not C, first bracket placed, or second bracket A and B and C, bracket placed, and then another bracket placed. That's perfectly okay. If a student has written it in this manner, or another student has written in this manner, they both are perfect answers. Okay, now why have I done this first? So that for me, the drawing of the circuit will become a little easy. Now you can see A and B, and then it's ANDed with the result coming from C. So in this area, what you can see is this is the representation of this one, where we have used A and B and C. A and B, the result is sent to the second AND, which is getting the next input coming from C, and then the result is sent to the last OR. Understood? So this one is the representation of 1, 1, 1 for all the three values A, B, and C. Clear? Now let's move on to the second one. A is 1, and I am getting, so the signal is coming from here, it's going here, A, and B is first, the not symbol is here, then we are going, not gate is here, then we are taking it here. It means this is A and not B. And then the result is sent to the last, to this AND, which is getting another input coming from C, which is having the C in the NOT gate first, and then the output is sent here. And then the final outcome is going to the OR gate, which is for X. Easy? Seems difficult, but see, it's so easy, isn't it? And you can easily score 6 marks for the drawing of the circuit and 3 marks for the equation. Now moving on to the next question. The flowchart inputs the weights of items in kgs to be loaded on a trailer. Any item over 25 kg is rejected. The trailer can take up to 100 kilograms. Now you can see this is the flowchart, very simple. You have the start, then you have the this symbol that is for the process box. Then you have input of weight taken. This process box has 2 initializing. Total weight equals to 0 and reject equals to 0. Input of weight is weight greater than 25? Yes. So reject equals to reject plus 1, and the input is taken again. If this is not the scenario, then total weight equals to total weight plus weight. Is total weight greater than 100? Yes. So it is moving down. Else it is moving once again up, and input of weight will be taken again. And once you are through with all thing, then you are going to total weight equals to total weight minus weight, and output weight of items, total weight, number of items, rejected, comma, reject. So there are 4 things that you need to output. Now let's do a few parts very quickly. Complete the trace table for the input data. First input is, now I'm starting with initializing. Total weight equals to 0, reject equals to 0. The 2 variables are initialized in the first line. Output column is empty. Input weight, I'll refer to this 13. And remember what we have learned, whichever value or test data has been used, you will simply circle it, that you are not going to reuse it. Where should it be written? In the column of weight, because it's 13. That is going to be input of weight. So 13 is entered here. Correct. Very good. Is weight greater than 25? No. So definitely it is moving down, and you are talking about total weight plus weight. Current total weight is 0 plus 13 makes it 13. Now, after that, it's going to, is total weight greater than 100? Condition is false. So it moves up and it takes the input of the next weight, 17. So here you can see 17 is written in this column. Then you have, is weight above 25? Yes. Reject equals to reject plus 1? Not. That will move down and it will add the value 17 to the previous value of total weight. 13 plus 17 makes it 30. And then again, checking, is total weight greater than 100? Again, condition is false. It will move up and take the input of the next value, 26. Now, 26 is checked. Is weight above 25? Is 26 greater than 25? Condition true. So it will move here and reject will be increased by 1. That is counting. Very good, Adi. So reject will be increased by 1. It will become 1. 0 plus 1 will make it 1. And then you will move again for the input of weight again. Next input taken 5. Again, 5 and after that 25. Okay, 25. 25 is input. Now you can see after input of 25 is taken, is weight greater than 25. Now the students can get confused. Some of you may assume that it should be rejected, but be cautious. It says greater than 25. It does not include 25. So it will move down and will increase the value of total weight. So that is the thing that you need to be very cautious about. The use of symbols, how are they being used, and then write down your answer accordingly. It may trick you, isn't it? Weren't we tricked right now? How many of us were tricked right now? Yes, some of us can be tricked that we may have included this in the reject column, but that is a wrong thing. Since the value is 25, which is not above 25, that's why it is going to be moving down, and the value of total weight will be increased, and you will get 30 plus 25 makes it 55. And then above 100, condition false again, it will move up and input of the next value will be taken, which is 5. So in this manner, again, condition checked, not above 25, added. And you can see in this manner, you can get the values updated. After 5, then is 10. Again, condition is true, not above 25. It will add up. Then again, the input of 15 is taken. Again, the condition is as such not true here, it's false. So total will be increased. Then after 15 is 35. So 35 is above 25. So reject will be increased by 1. Earlier value was 1. 1 plus 1 will be 2. And in this manner, you can see the value of reject has been increased. Next input taken, 20. Again, the condition is true. The condition is false here. This condition is false here. It will move down. The total weight will be increased from 85. Adding 20 will make it 105. Now here you can see, after the addition of total weight has been done, it will be checking, is weight, which is 105, above 100? Now you can see condition is true. So it will be decreasing the value of total weight. From total weight will be decreasing the weight that has been added right now. So it will be back to normal. Again, some students make a mistake that they are not going to write down, that they will not pay attention to the subtraction process, and that's understandable. Though they said, if the value of total weight is going beyond 100, then you have to subtract and you have to output the value. And what is it? Weight of items. The weight of items. Be cautious about the value. W is capital of items, and then you have to write down 85, the total weight that is coming from here. And then immediately it's number of items, and N is capital, number of items rejected. And then the value of reject will be 2. In this manner, you will be able to get marks from here. And be cautious, there's 1 mark for the output column, 1 mark for this. And first 85, 1 mark for 105 and 85, and then 1 mark, 1 mark. In this manner, you'll be able to score 5 out of 5. Easy? That's great. Be a little cautious whenever you are attempting these questions so that you are never ever making a mistake at all. Validation checks now question number 9. Validation checks can be made on input data. Tick 1 box to show which check is a verification check on input data. Verification checks are checksum, double entry, echo check parity. Now, immediately I will be clicking on this one because of the reason that it's double entry is the right option. Checksum, if you remember, that is not the viable option. Echo check is not a viable option. Parity check is not viable option. Verification is made on input data. By the way, this is verification, but that is verification differently. So please, it's basically for error detection. Checksum, echo check, parity check. Thank you very much, Asad, with pinpointing that these are actually meant for error detection. So out of these four options, double entry, by the way, just a recall, which is the other option for, which is the other type of verification check? We have learned. That's great. Wonderful, Ahmed. It's basically your double entry and visual check. That's wonderful. Excellent. A function length x finds the length of a string x and function substring xyz finds the substring of x starting position y and z characters long. The first character in the string is position 1. Show the value of the variable after each pseudocode statement has been executed. See, P equals to computer science. So definitely, P will be holding computer science. So simple. Q, length of P. You counted the number of characters. So it came to 16. R equals to substring P, 10, 7. From this P, you have to extract from position number 10th onwards 7 characters. So what is in R? It's storing signs. S equals to length of R. Now you have to refer to this R, and the length of this R variable is 7. That's why you wrote 7 here. Substring, as we have learned, is meant to extract from this string position number beginning this number of characters. So substring R is basically containing signs. From the first position, extract 3 characters. That's where you got SCI. And if you have written all these things properly, you are able to score 5 out of 5 so easily, isn't it? Now, any questions? That's great. Substring, length, upper and lower, we have done, and I hope that you are okay with them. Write pseudocode statement to extract the word computer from P and store it in the variable F. Now, it's so simple. You need to be cautious. F is your target. So I wrote, it is written here, F, assignment operator, substring. Extract means that you have to use substring function. The word is computer, that is stored from P. This is your P. You have to extract from P the word computer. So it is written P, comma, and since computer is existing from the first position, so that is why 1. How many characters? You can see for yourself. It contains COMPUTER is 8 characters long. That's why you wrote F arrow, that is the assignment operator, substring. From P, starting from the first position, extract 8 characters. And in this manner, you will be easily able to score 2 marks if you have written the right position and the variable in the right positions. You will be very easily able to score. Now, this is again, very simple, a database table. This is the database table. I need to find out the number of fields and the number of records. You remember field 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 fields. Records are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 records. In this manner, I'll be able to score 2 out of 2 in just hardly a minute. But be cautious, fields are here and records are here. And do not include this 9 that is containing the heading, or that is only containing the heading, not the not included in your rows. Give 2 validation checks that could be performed on show number field. Now, show number is the field. Although like they were supposed to write down, so here all the options that are available are mentioned here. Like the first one is length check. Remember, length check means exactly the same number of characters. So you can see everywhere it's the same. Type check, the right type. Presence check, definitely it's your key field. That's why it has to have the data. You cannot leave it blank. And the format check, you can see SN is coming in the beginning. So that is like for show number, they're using SN as the format check. So similarly, you need to remember the way we have for our Pakistani students, we do have PK in the beginning, indicating that this is again the format of your can say a center number. Similarly, a lot of format checks that you are aware of. So these are the 4 options available. You can choose any two and just write down their names, and that's going to give you 2 out of 2. Now, show the output that would be given by this structured query last statement. Select. You have to select only 2 values. What is it? Date and title. From the table, from this database table performance, where not sold out and type equals to jazz and semicolon. Now here you are not supposed to write down the SQL. You are asked to extract the data from the SQL that is meeting the criteria. So here, what will you extract? Only the date and the title. So you can see what will I do is I'll move on to the sold out field. Wherever sold out field is a no and the value is jazz. So you can figure out the type is jazz in situation 1 and situation 2. And the value here is no and the value here is yes. So I'll ignore this situation and I'll only refer to this one because this is meeting both the criteria. So I have highlighted or ticked this line. And then it asked me to only output title and date, and that date and title. So I only wrote 3rd November, 03 November NOV. And please be cautious, although it's November, but I'll not write down November. I'll simply write down NOV and acoustic evening in the same manner. So you can see 03 NOV, acoustic evening will give you 2 out of 2. I mean, just being a high performer, a good scorer, I suggest you that go through these minor things so that you are able to impress your examiner like he knows that you really are a serious person. Okay, understood? Now, question number 12, rewrite this pseudocode algorithm using a while do and while do. Now, input ep equals to false, input num for count equals to 1 to 12. If a of counter equals to num, then b equals to true, end if next counter. What they wanted me to do is convert this from for to while. Again, remember, line b equals to false remains same, input num remains same, but the only change is, if you remember, we have to initialize the variable counter, initialized in a separate line before your while loop. Now, the use of while counter less than or equal to 12. Now, since 1 to 12, that's why 1 is initialized. While counter less than or equal to 12, do. If line is same, then line is same, b equals to true is same, end if same. But do not forget to increase the value of counter by 1 and end while. So actual change is in this line where you are initializing. Second change is in the use of the less than or equal to 12, which is going to make it work. And the third change is count equals to counter plus 1. And then you will be actually able to score 4 out of 4 very, very easily. Now, identify the purpose of the algorithm in A. You can figure out if A of count equals to num, then B equals to true. This is linear search. You're performing the linear search thing. You're going one by one from the first record to the last one, from all the values in the array. You're going one by one and you're locating the existence of your required value that is stored in num, and wherever it is located, you are mentioning it there. Fine. Explain the difference between a while do, end while, and a repeat until. I think everyone is now aware of. The first thing is the while has criteria check at start. As you can see, it checks the condition first, while precondition may not return, may never run even once. While if you talk about the repeat until, it's a post condition, and it is going to go do the task at least once. By the way, we know other things also, like while loop is working when the condition is true, and repeat until works when the condition is false. So in this manner, you can very easily score 3 out of 3 because this is what you have been learning in the class quite often. You are aware that while is a precondition loop, chase the condition first before entering, and on the contrary, repeat until is executing at least once. It's a post condition. While works when the condition is true, while on the contrary, repeat until works when the condition is false. I hope that we have understood till now very easily. It's not a difficult thing at all. And the 13th question is your scenario-based question, which will be discussed later. But for that, you need to be very well versed about the 1D arrays and the 2D arrays, and the its videos are also uploaded, so you can refer to them, and that will benefit you a lot. Thank you very much for being a part of the whole journey. Thank you everyone, the students, for being a very, I can say, for being a good contributor for the class. Your answers were really encouraging for me, because that gives me a lot of energy that you have done everything well, you have understood everything well. Take good care of yourselves, and Allah Hafiz.